Today we're finally going to talk about Kooleen and how she pissed off half of the entire art community with her infamous art tutorial that indirectly insulted me and everyone else that looks like me unapologetically. Hey, how's it going and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about the Kooleen fixing art disaster that had artists scrambling in their seats and people dragging her in the mud all over my timeline on Twitter. So if you're new to this channel and love listening to videos discussing art commentary and videos talking about the art community in general, please subscribe to the channel and join the Discord server using the link in the description. At this point, I'm guessing everyone already knows who Kooleen is, but for those who somehow have no idea who she is, Kooleen is one of the fastest growing art channels on YouTube with a total of almost 4 million followers and subscribers all across her social media platforms, where she mostly posts art tutorials, tips and easy tricks or hacks that are beginner friendly and easy to follow for artists trying to improve their drawing skills but also want some entertainment along the way, since apparently no one wants to learn art the good old-fashioned way anymore. Her style of tutorials is a mix between sarcasm and light-hearted humor and a dash of actual information along the way. From what it seems, I know some people don't take her tutorials seriously and question if her methods and unrealistic techniques for artists to start an image are actually useful and can be used practically when drawing day to day. But it seems to have worked for some people, and Kooleen herself has managed to surprise everyone and herself into making pretty decent art with her unorthodox step-by-step processes. One of the major themes on her channel is a critique for her subscribers where she roasts their work and fixes some of their art, showing them ways they could make the drawing better, by Kooleen standard that is, and also helping them adapt their style to look a little more like her own work, which kinda doesn't work since not everyone wants to have a simplified art style and some artists are just not interested in having their drawings look like anime characters. So after making one too many roasting art videos, Kooleen made the rather questionable and racist joke that angered a lot of her fans in a video where she called a drawing that had a protruding mouth and nose line in the side profile gorilla looking, insinuating the drawing with receding features looked better, therefore it should be the standard for drawing a side profile no matter the race of the person. Kooleen then watched herself become the most hated artist on the internet, and after that the entire art community came to an abrupt pause, with everyone slowly scrutinizing every video she had made in the past, looking for hints of racism and derogatory remarks aimed at black people after they had seen the infamous tutorial. And who can blame them? A lot of us are just used to drawing features that she called wrong, and we've never been shamed or called gorilla looking for drawing features that look like this. And not surprisingly enough, I happen to be built exactly like the drawing she called wrong, which basically means I qualify to be called a gorilla looking mother as well. Damn. Another problem a lot of people had with Kooleen was the fact that she stated she never drew ugly people, which led people to start digging through her portfolio, and seeing as it's more or less filled with only drawings of people with a rather low level of melanin, as in white, they started assuming she was referring to every other skin color that was not white as ugly, and started leaving comments on her post asking her why she only draws almost the same characters and why she refuses to draw other races. Kooleen never draws ugly people, then never draws black people. To anyone with half a brain, this is more than enough evidence to call her racist. Kooleen is kinda racist and literally never draws characters with wrinkles. She makes their face as smooth as damn butter, and on other characters she's removed ethnic features. So glad people are calling out Kooleen's bullshit. I watched one video she made and she said don't draw ugly people if you want to get better at art, and I tuned out immediately. Weirdo behavior. I still find it fascinating how people equate beauty to skin color and however pretty the faces in your drawing are, since at this point it's quite obvious that art imitates life, and there are artists who make literally amazing drawings with imperfect features, different skin tones, and still somehow manage to make the drawing look pretty and also anatomically correct, since most of these features that are quote-unquote mistakes and labeled as ugly are inherently found in people of color from around the world. And as a person who has spent their entire life sporting these wrong features and using them in their drawings every day, seeing people consider this absurd notion of idealizing Eurocentric features as the supreme standard of beauty in people and across various art forms is just rubbing me off the wrong way. Pause. The next issue that people had with Kooleen was the fact that in most of her videos where subscribers submitted their art to be critiqued and roasted, Kooleen had a habit of erasing features that were not tailored to suit her art style and related them with ugly people, calling them wrong or incorrect. In one of the videos, Kooleen critiqued a drawing of a dark-skinned character, calling the features wrong and changing them to something that just looked worse and much more incorrect for the specific context the artist was probably going for. This specific critique angered a lot of people and immediately got a reaction out of people on TikTok and YouTube, which further increased the amount of backlash Kooleen started to receive. People started making jokes on TikTok using the same technique Kooleen had stated was correct in her tutorial and applying them to their drawings, which instantly changed the entire drawing for worse. It got so bad that people started calling her out for giving awful tutorials and calling her out for being racist and problematic, since apparently it wasn't the first time she was seen fixing another person's art and roasting features that were more or less Afrocentric and common with people of color. In another video where she was roasting a fan's drawing and calling the girls edges, which is a common way black women lay their hair, and even some men at this point, and I'm sure she should somehow know what it is or should have at least seen it somewhere in a photo on Instagram or on TikTok, maybe in person, in a music video. But sadly, she made fun of it and mocked it as another weird looking part of the drawing. Another person also made a post where Kooleen supposedly fixed an OC that had acne, which was part of the original artist's concept to make the character unique by giving them normal features that people go through on a daily basis. But Kooleen's fix removed all the features, literally changing the character to one of her smexy Instagram posts, which ideally wouldn't have been a bad thing if the artist was trying to draw in the Kooleen art style. But since their drawing was remarkably different, things like basic proportions and anatomy should have been the focus of the critique, and looking at the original drawing itself, it looks pretty okay to me. Maybe it just needed a little polishing to make the line art cleaner and give the drawing a finished look. All these incidents happened numerous times over the span of a few months, and whether intentional or not, they all got the art community talking about it, with YouTubers discussing the implication of Kooleen's tutorials, her comments about Afrocentric features, and setting that as the standard for her young audience to adapt in their drawings, which was mostly becoming problematic since she had a large fan base, and if, hypothetically speaking, most of the younger artists who watched her content religiously and then tried to follow her tutorials were subconsciously going to adopt her techniques and carry that over into their own work. And along with that, they were also going to carry her mistakes as well, which is not good for the most part. And I believe the entire premise surrounding that is self-explanatory at this point, because I'm just honestly tired of looking at this image right now. Well, after all this drama happened on YouTube and TikTok, Kooleen wasn't quick to respond to any of the accusations, and people kept calling her out and commenting on the recent videos she posted, telling her to stop ignoring all the comments on her videos since it was clear she saw them but refused to engage with them or give them any attention, and was instead replying to comments that had nothing to do with the drama and complimenting her on her ability to make entertaining videos for her fans. This further pissed people off, making them leave more comments on her videos and videos of other creators asking them to comment on the situation and begging to hear their opinion on what was going on. Please address what you've done and apologize if it was intentional and you knew what you were doing. It doesn't have to be that long. It just has to be genuine. Apologizing is better than nothing. Kooleen, please confront the drama and address it maturely, or it will get worse. You're one of my favorite YouTubers along with artists, and I honestly don't want to see your downfall. So please be a mature person and address it nicely. That's all we want. Don't let the drama get worse. Please. I'm sorry, Kooleen, but I think a lot of drama is happening. But they are right, you have to give them confirmation. The problem seems to get out of hand. You have to either apologize or explain. It may take time to take action, but seems like you are not even responding to the situation, simply ignoring it. That is just going to ruin your profile as an artist. You probably don't care. You have to take action quick. I'm on neither side, but you are really not responding to the drama, and that isn't going to fix anything. The comments kept piling up on each of her different platforms, and people kept pondering when she was going to respond to any of the accusations, and with so much restlessness from the fans and people calling her out, it didn't take long for them to start going head to head with each other in the comment sections of her videos and posts of other people who were just talking about the situation. Some of her fans started commenting on posts and replying to people telling them to touch grass and go outside in no specific order exactly, saying she was just being sarcastic and it was all just part of her personality and other people wouldn't get it because they were not big brained and that they were far off from being called smegsy. And some insisted that Kooleen was just joking and that they should grow up and learn to take a joke. This argument caused so many threads on both Twitter and TikTok, with people complaining about the supposed jokes she was making, which came off the wrong way and appeared racist since they were specifically targeted at a particular set of people that have those set of features she supposedly joked about. And the Kooleen apologist defended her, saying she obviously joked about other groups of people and their features as well, and she wasn't only targeting one race and making fun of them. But then when they were asked to show proof or examples of such instances, their claims fell short and couldn't hold any water, unfortunately. While the entire art community waited for Kooleen to make a statement or at least acknowledge the situation, people started making their own assumptions about Kooleen, calling her a racist and a coward and making jokes about her bringing a ukulele to make a smegsy apology video, while some other people simply researched and tried to apply her tutorial to see if it actually made any sense. And as a matter of fact, let's just do that right now. So let's use this image Thumin posted on Twitter, for example. As you can clearly see, all Rihanna's features are definitely off from what Kooleen stated, and you can see she has a protruding chin as well. How about Miles from Spider-Verse? Are his features similar to Kooleen's tips? Oh, that's a no too. Although his chin isn't pushing forward as much as the previous image, but we can see the lips still go out further and don't slant backwards immediately and tuck under the nose. We can also see the same thing with Miles' mom, and in her sad profile, her mouth and chin go out slightly and extend further than her nose, but then slightly slant downwards a bit since she is bending her head downwards in the drawing. Same thing can be seen in this drawing of April O'Neil. Although she barely has a chin, her mouth still pushes forward, and even when characters are exaggerated and stylized, these features are still apparent for both male characters, female characters, young and old characters, characters with clear chins and characters with beards. Who's this fine specimen? Daddy? Now, of course, there are going to be exceptions since art is not a one-size-fits-all, and human beings are all different and each of us have different unique features. But when it comes to black people and other people of color, these features are mostly common and apparent in every 8 out of 10 people you'll find. I would have said 9 or 10, but then we have people who are mixed, so their features won't be as extreme as a person from, say, West Africa, who are known to have heavy features and unique facial structures. After the callouts became alarming and apparent on almost every video Kooleen posted on YouTube and TikTok, it was clear the art community was not going to let up, and Kooleen finally responded to the comments in an Instagram post where she addressed the situation in an image post behind a meme to try to lighten the situation, I guess. I want to sincerely apologize to the people I hurt. My channel is completely satire, and I know my content revolves around being offensive, but I will never aim any hate or discrimination towards a particular race or gender. I roast everyone equally in a satirical manner. There was no malice intended. I was ignorant on the implications of using certain words as I do not consume much Western content. I genuinely was not referring to any race at all. I am aware that a lot of people will continue to hate me after this and take my words out of context, but I am not making this apology for them. They are irrelevant. Additionally, I want to emphasize that my fans specifically asked for their art to be roasted. You may check through the hashtag #CooleenRoastMe. I am only apologizing to the people I hurt and my fans who genuinely enjoy my videos. I'll do better in the future.
You smell that? I smell cap.
Well, obviously her apology was received by her fans who wholeheartedly accepted it, but there were still a number of comments who called her apology fake and said she was just pandering to her audience and not properly addressing what people were criticizing her and calling her out for. People felt her apology was pretty broad and felt she was hiding behind the use of humor in her content as a segue for her to basically let the intrusive thoughts win, while others just felt her using a meme as a base for her to slide the apology underneath felt a little childish and could have been done better, and her not directly apologizing for roasting Afrocentric features showed she was apparently not taking enough responsibility for her actions and was in no way holding herself accountable. A lot of people also called her out for trying to hide behind not consuming much Western content to not know about Afrocentric features, which seemed rather absurd because come on, it's 2023. Literally every movie at the very least has 3 or 4 black or POC characters for diversity purposes, so obviously she must have seen something at this point. And besides, there are probably black people living in her part of the world, so one way or another she should have seen them, I guess. And even if she didn't see them that way, you know how else she would have seen them? Memes. Kooleen's content is centered around memes and Gen Z humor, and if you're into memes and you're on Twitter, obviously you're going to run into memes with black people, so there's no way you're going to say you haven't seen black people enough or you haven't consumed enough Western media to not understand black people and their features. So I guess Kooleen saying she doesn't consume a lot of Western content, so that practically hindered her understanding of these supposed Western features or something, pissed off a lot of people in the comments, and for good reason. I literally have no idea what people living in Antarctica look like, and neither do I consume Western content about them. If I happen to see a drawing of a person from there, even if it looked bad or could have been drawn better, I believe I'll know not to mock their features or use them as jokes just because I'm making a comedic video, even if my content is based around satirical comedy. Knowing the generation we live in, and people are practically begging for you to say something controversial or just make one simple mistake on the internet so your words can be taken out of context and used for flashy TikTok edits with catchy funk beats. I think Kooleen has learned from this situation that comedy and humor can still be pretty offensive, especially if it is centered around making fun of specific features that are particular to one race or a particular group of people. And even if your jokes and content is lighthearted, people are going to find them offensive because they sound offensive, even as jokes. That's literally why Chris Rock got smacked in the face on national television. So carefully thinking about the jokes we make and how it may resonate with our audience is definitely very crucial at this point, especially when you have a large fan base that takes every single thing you say as the word of God, and you obviously can't control how people are going to quote you appropriately or not, and possibly even take your words out of context and misuse them given the opportunity to be hateful online. Other YouTubers also talked about this and stated their opinions while also debunking the tip and putting it to the test to see if it made any sense at all. And this entire situation has just really left a sour taste on everyone's lips once Kooleen is mentioned for some reason. Whether she intentionally made the jokes or not, we can't say for sure, and we can only assume that she is a good person deep down that doesn't depend on using hateful racist remarks as jokes to get a reaction out of people at the expense of making people with those features feel bad about themselves. So I guess we can only expect the best or worst from Kooleen moving forward. I think she's a good artist and a good human being, probably, and every human being makes a mistake from time to time, so let's just assume this is one of those times for Kooleen, and let's hope she doesn't have any relationship to Uncle Ruckus deep down in her soul. That's all I have for you today. Please leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it, share it with a friend so they know not to make fun of Afrocentric features, and if you enjoy art commentary style videos and videos discussing topics surrounding the art community, please subscribe to the channel and join the Discord server using the link in the description. And you could also click any of the videos that will come up now to continue watching similar videos like this. I'll see all you pretty penguins in the next video. Bye!